That pounding sound has echoed around the world. Meet the man behind the rhythm, Zoro the drummer. He's rocked the stage with famous names like Lenny Kravitz. And during his stellar 30-year career, Zoro has toured with popular artists such as New Edition, Bobby Brown, Jody Watley, and Sean Lennon. But Z doesn't hang out in the shadow of celebrities. This bona fide rock star has made the cover of several music magazines. And he's consistently earned the title of Best R&B Drummer in the World.
Well, joining us now is Zoro, and it's always a pleasure to have you with us.
Great to be here, Gordon. Thank you again for having me.
How did you go from the projects of Los Angeles? I hear that you moved 20 times as a kid.
Yeah.
Why? Why was that always forced on you?
Well, back in those days, when you had too many occupants in an apartment, they had rules and stuff. And so when they found out we had that many kids, and they would ask you to move. They had limitations. It was a difficult time. So we moved all over the place.
So it was because there were 7 kids in the family.
Yeah, and one mother.
And that's just too many for the...
Yeah, but they wanted 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. But when you had that many, they just make you move. But we moved all over the place. But that instability... the thing is, no matter what you come from, God can use those circumstances to form the strength in your life. The adversity that you have when you're young becomes, your points of pain become your points of ministry later. The very things that you went through that were difficult is what gives you a heart for people, period. Because unless you go through something, you don't really have compassion for people. It's the hard things you go through that give you care and concern for other people. Otherwise, we don't care about anybody.
Well, how did this instability become your stability? Do you move a lot now, or are you fixed?
No, I don't move a lot now, but it shaped me. It gave me character, and I think sometimes when you go through hard things, it gives you an earnest, it gives you a conviction because you do things with all of your heart. When I play the drums, and when I write, when I do whatever I do, like my whole soul is in every moment. My soul is in every moment of this television. Everything matters when you grow up in desperation. And in my life, I want to use every moment of my life to make a difference on this planet. So I take every day and every moment seriously because of that upbringing. So there's a conviction of my spirit that's like, I've got to make a difference with every moment that I live in my life, through every opportunity that God gives me, every platform, every door that's open. It's like, I've been praying before coming on the show, Lord, use me on this show to be a blessing to you, to whoever I encounter, to be used is the greatest thing in the world. How
do you maintain that? Because a lot of people are looking for that. And just hearing, I'm present in every moment, that I'm not off thinking about something else. I'm not daydreaming. I'm not wishing it were better. I'm just experiencing the moment for what it is.
I think realizing that life is given to us in moments. We live... Right now, you and I are living in this moment. We're not given life in 10-year increments. We're giving it moment by moment. And I think sometimes people negate the small things in life. They negate that your life is usually changed by momentary or second encounters with people. Somebody who has a kind words, a teacher who encourages you, somebody who calls you when you're having a bad day. I mean, really, our life happens in seconds and in moments. And it's learning that each one of those can be a life-changing moment for you or for somebody else if you just make yourself available. So for me, my greatest goal is at the end of my life is how many people can I have impacted? Because what's the difference if you become hugely successful, but at the end of the journey, nobody's life got better because of you? Because to me, at the end of your life, there's 2 ways to live your life. You can live a life of self or you can live a life of service. It's only 2 ways. And you're going to worship. The question is, what are you going to worship? So if you live a life of self, you'll eventually self-destruct, and not a lot of people get to go on the journey with you. But if you live a life of service, then everything you do, you view life as an opportunity to serve people. And that's how I viewed my life. My books, my teachings, my writings, my playing, it's an opportunity to touch people so that by the end of my life, how many people's life got better because Zoro lived. And that's the goal. That's why we're here. We're here to make a difference. So that's a driving force with me. And
a lot of people don't get that because a lot of folks think anybody that's made it, that somehow or other they crushed people along the way, or they, climbed on top of people to make it. And you found that when you serve people, that's actually the point where you start to advance, and it's biblical. If you want to be the leader, you have to be the servant.
Well, you just nailed it exactly. Like, I'm here because God opened the door for me to be here. God introduced you to me, but I came when I met you to serve. I come here to serve. I don't come here to be served. I come here. My prayer has been, how can I be a blessing? How can my appearance on this show inspire people around the world and touch as many lives as possible? When you make the heart call, the cry of your heart, God's cry, then I believe he shifts and moves everything to accommodate that, because that's his desire, is that we're here to serve his people. I mean, I'm a father. I have 2 children. Nothing pleases me more than when my children treat each other nice. And when they do something special to each other, I get all welled up and I start crying, and they say, oh, Dad, you're such a whatever. You know, but
you go, I did something right.
Yeah, but
I'm proud of you.
When God sees us do that for each other, he smiles. And if the world could learn that message, if the world could learn we're here to change the lives of others. I wrote that whole book so people could learn how to discover their gift, how to develop it, so they can impact other people in a positive way. And that's the only thing that actually gives life any substance, significance, or meaning, is when you are making a difference. That's when we feel alive, when we're doing something that we help somebody. You know, all the stuff you do on your shows, all the people out there making a difference. That's why we're here. If we don't have something hard to work towards, and if we're not helping other people, we are very unfulfilled. And there are many people who make it to the top that do what you said. They climb, they kick, they steal, but there's no contentment. There's no joy. At the end of their life, there's not like, oh, this was awesome.
If you do it that way, you're not going to stay there.
And you're not going to stay there, and you'll never enjoy it.
Yeah,
because
and then there'll be no satisfaction, because you'll know
right.
It didn't come that way. How do you get to the? I think a lot of people have the concept that I should be doing things for other people. I should be doing good with my life. But they don't know how, and they don't translate it ever into action. It's an intellectual thing, but it's not an action thing.
It's very simple. Life has an expiration date. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, we're going to expire. What keeps me going is knowing, hey, the thing is, I don't know when that's going to happen. So I think if people could start viewing things from an eternal perspective, when I do something, I'm not thinking about just now, I'm thinking about I might be able to affect lives that will change future generations. So I'm thinking eternally, and I'm also realizing I have a limited, life is a limited time offer. For a short time, God offers you life, and then it's done. So if you start thinking that way, you'll start to not waste moments or not waste days, and it's easy to change the world. Love people. Love is the simplest thing in the world. It's just to love one another. And one of the easiest ways we could do that is to encourage one another. Ivory and I were talking in the dressing room before we came here. Who of us cannot use a word of encouragement every day of our life? Because every morning you wake up, there's new discouragement, new things challenging, new trials and tribulations. So just being kind to people out in the world is how you become a world changer. You make a difference. It's through the power of your words and giving somebody a pat on the back, or telling a waitress or waiter they did a good job. I've done things like that, and I've seen people just melt because they rarely hear kind words anymore.
Well, if you want to learn about how you can soar, you were meant to live for so much more. It's all in Zoro's book, The 9 Proven Keys for Unlocking Your Limitless Potential. The book is called Soar, and it's available wherever books are sold. And if you want more information how you can get a copy, just go to cbn.com. And Zoro, thanks for being with us.
Thank you. What an honor. What a privilege.